Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to Murchison Falls National Park. Lillian is my name. I'm one of the ranger guides of Murchison Falls, going to take you for the next 3 hours in this evening drive. Murchison Falls is the biggest and one of the oldest national parks in Uganda. As a park, having been gazetted in the year 1952, Murchison Falls covers about 3,840 square kilometers, within which are 76 mammal species, 451 bird species, in addition to the most powerful waterfall in the world. The name Murchison Falls National Park originates from that magnificent waterfall, for we look at it like the uniqueness of our park, something that best describes us, and we are so proud to name the entire park after the waterfall. As a park, we engage in 2 different activities. Apparently, I'm taking you for an evening drive, but we do very early morning drives starting from 6:30. We do full day game drives in most cases for researchers. That one starts at 7 up to around 7. We do evening game drives that start at 4 up to around 7. We do night game drives for those specifically sleeping in the park. We do all this to see that we cover some good percentage of what makes up Murchison Falls. As you come here and engage in different activities, of course, you cannot do a game drive or you do a boat, you do an evening and a morning, and you fail to get some good percentage by the time you go back home. Welcome and feel at home. As we continue, please, is there anyone that needs to use a restroom? Because we are going to move a distance that will take us about 1.5 to 2 hours before we get anywhere safe for us to come out. You'll have a right of taking photos. We can stop and give you that opportunity. You take photos, ask as much questions as possible. As we go, these are our safety precautions. Kindly make sure we keep inside the car. In case you must come out even when we have stopped, I should be alerted as your guide. Make sure your hands are always inside, because when you put outside, we have rough plants around. We don't want you to go back with injury. Then the other thing is, let us keep a plastic and polythene-free environment such that we have an attractive and we conserve together with you as our guests. On the right is a Jackson hartebeest. Under the antelope family, there are others slightly far away. There is a female there with her young one. So that is under the antelope family, and the antelope is a wide family with different subspecies. These differ in size, color, or sometimes the shape of their horns. Critically look at it: long body, long face. Look at the shape of the horns. Their horns come and curve backward. Now, this one that is close to us is a male one. They have thick and stouter horns. Look at it. Besides looking at the organs, but you can also look at the genitals if you're close, just like we are. The female is the other side. The female has slender horns. Otherwise, males have thick and stouter horns. They have that long face and a longer body. Different size, color, or shape of the horns. You may find now that oribi was as brown as the Jackson hartebeest, but this is small. Small, but they also have a black spot below the ear. When we get one, we shall stop and you see that. Because in most cases, when people look at them, they mistake them to be young ones of cobs, yet they are not. So Murchison Falls is endowed with different ecosystems. When you enter from the southern gate, that is the one that comes from Masindi, that is Kichumbanyobo, you come through Budongo Forest. So that is a forest ecosystem. From the forest ecosystem around the escarpment towards the river is savanna woodland. We are bisected into 2 by River Nile. And now here we are on the northern side, which is mainly composed of savanna grassland and a few areas of woodland. Most of our animals prefer the northern side because this is a savanna grassland. And most of them being grazers, they look at where they can have their food, which is grass. So that is one of the factors they consider. Besides that, they look at safety. Them being in an area which is open, they can easily check around and see in case of any predator, such that they get away to escape. Then lastly, they also look at closeness to a drinking point. We have a permanent water source, which is River Nile. So even when it is dry, they have access to the river to drink. So this is why they prefer so much on the northern, and our game drives are much concentrated on the northern side compared to the southern. To the right is a herd of buffaloes. A group of buffaloes is called a herd, and in such a herd they have a dominant system where they have a dominant male as a leader and the commander of the group. And to be the commander of the group, you must be strong enough that when you take a command, everyone respects and responds accordingly. Otherwise, one fact about life is the older we get, the weaker we become. Just like humans, even in those buffaloes, that also happens. So that means the more you enjoy privileges of being a dominant, at one point you're becoming a loser because you're aging and weakening. Juveniles keep looking and monitoring. Remember, they admire those privileges. The dominant male is one to mate with the females around openly. The dominant male is one to command the group and lead it wherever it will be having food in a day. So these juveniles are admiring. So one time, if one juvenile feels is stronger, then they will be subjected into a fight. And in that fight, whoever wins takes up the lead, as long as he has support of mainly the females. And this happens how? This dominant male, because there are very many females, especially now in Murchison Falls, our herds range between 300 to 500 individuals. Kidepo has more members. That one goes to 1,000 to 2,000 or even more sometimes. So what happens is this male may not be able to mate with those females all. So she will choose who is favorite and then ignore some of them. So these juveniles behind there keep of course mating with some through hiding. So as they do that, they are gaining popularity with the females. So by the time this shows up, he has already gained some support. So that fight, if he wins, then he will take over. Now the funny thing, if one takes over, then they will kick out the former dominant who has lost, because he wants to assume now full powers of full control of the group. So when he's kicked out, he will go, and of course he has sustained injuries. So what saves them is when they reach outside there, they make up what we call bachelor herds. When he meets fell losers, then he will join that group and make up a bachelor herd. On our right is a lioness on top of that piled maram that you see. She's resting. Of course, she has just woken up, and that is a way to blend as she's trying to identify the prey around. It is waking up time. They sleep during the day. Remember, lions are nocturnals. So they are active in the night, and during the day is the time that they rest. Then in the night is when they get up to hunt. So she's pretending around to be like she's still sleeping, but in the process, she's trying to scan who is the nearest. Among those that I may be seeing, who is limping, who is easy, who is very old. So they tend to identify their prey first before they try an attack. It's not a matter of going to attack because anything is coming. They will also first gauge, when we try this, won't we go wrong? So they will always hunt after they have planned. This pride has about, initially they were 9, but this is a young female. The pride had 9 with the mother and the male one who is their father. But now their mother has young ones, and these ones decided to make their own group. So they are moving 5 of them, 2 females and 3 males. They're about 2 years. If we get a chance of getting the males, you will see their men. You can easily tell these are still young, but they're looking so beautiful. The man is still very young and so nice and attractive. So when they rest on a hill like this, it is a way to blend from their prey. So the prey will come not knowing there is something on top. They will just imagine this is all heaped soils, yet there is a predator there. So this is a camouflaging point. They help in managing numbers of other animals. Look at the population of animals in Murchison Falls. If we did not have lions, then for the antelopes, they would go out of hand. The numbers would be more than what we can accommodate. So as they do survive on them, hunting them down, it's nature taking its course. They are managing the numbers and controlling. We are no longer deployed to come and see that we reduce on the numbers. Nature takes its course. And remember, as I was telling you earlier, when they're identifying the one to go for, they will look for who is limping, who is the easiest to catch, who is very old, who is the one remaining behind. Of course, in most cases, by the time you're coming last, you either has a problem or you're sick or what. So just like you would go to prune in your garden and look out for which plant is weak, they also do that when they are hunting. They don't just go for the strongest. They take advantage of whoever is easy to catch. I always tell people, let's compare what we see here and what we see in Lake Mburo. What has made those zebras to go up to communities is because Lake Mburo doesn't have lions. The predators that they have are mainly leopards, which leopards cannot go for zebra. So this is why the numbers are growing so wild. You find they're even in the community. We are lucky that these zebras are not so destructive. Otherwise, it would be so much a challenge for Uganda Wildlife Authority. Possibly every day we would be in court for issues of animals attacking communities. In the morning, they were 5 on this rock, the heaped soils. So possibly others have already moved. So she's just following. On average, lions live for about 15 years. Especially for the females, they make it 15. Males, in most cases, are about 12 years. Of course, males are so much subjected to fights for territories, competitors wanting to take over their prides. So they are so much subjected to that. And at the end of the day, it makes them easily die. Females may push up to around 15 years. Gestation is the shortest, one of the shortest, 3.5 months. And what does 3.5 months means? They get pregnant and last for only 3.5 months pregnant. And in 1 litter, they may have between 3 to 6 cubs. In front of us are those 2 male lions. A male is what we call a lion and a female is a lioness. One has been marking territory. We saw that as he was trying to urinate on the bush that it was next to. They do that to mark their territory such that in case of any other male that comes around will tell this area belongs to someone else. It's one of the hardest tasks males go through. As females go to hunt, the male has a responsibility of marking the territory and guarding it. And this puts it at a very high risk. Because one thing that we should remember is when young males come up, they are looking at which prides they can easily take over. So in that, these males are so much subjected to fights. And those fights always, in most cases, cost their lives. When they fight for the territory, of course, for one to take over, you must fight until you kill the other one, then you take over. And this is also one of the reasons why lion population is very small. After that fight, if one male has taken over, then he will also fight to make sure that he suppresses the gene of the former male in the group. So how do they do that? They also go ahead and kill the cubs from that particular male. So in the process, of course, numbers go on reducing all the time. That behavior that you see is a behavior for brothers or sisters. When they know each other and they meet, they will always hug. Sometimes they hug tails together, or they will come and kind of like kiss. That is a sign of brotherhood. When they know each other, that is what happens. You see he's yawning. Of course, he's hungry. He has just woken up. He's been having a sleep. Of course, they sleep during the day, just like I said earlier. So they have woken up and now they're in that mood of hunting. They are very hungry. Females do the most hunting, but also males do. So here they are. And look at how they have situated themselves. They are facing different direction. All that is to say that, of course, you monitor the other side, I monitor this other side. And this is the same things that the prey also does. Because if you face the same direction, then you don't know who is coming from behind. Look at the behavior of this one rolling down. Of course, sometimes bites are so many on the skin. So that is kind of a massage. Look at that. He's enjoying himself. They are mature males. Look at that. Basically. Now look at, if they are lying the way they have been lying down there, could you even tell there is a lion nearby? You couldn't. And for them, the good thing with them, they use the eyesight very well, but they also have very perfect sense of smell. So they always smell their prey. And the prey also smells the predator, by the way. So this is now how they tend to behave. Look at that. very loving brothers. So Murchison is estimated to be having about 220 lions. We are still waiting for the research that is going on. Data is being compiled. We believe we shall have concrete data that will be documented. But yes, we are not doing so bad, though of course this is not the best we can have, but we are lucky, at least we have that number. And in Uganda, Murchison seem to be having the biggest number of lions compared to other national parks. When you look at the prey that we've seen, of course this contributes so much. When these animals have enough food, they will not roam outside into communities to be killed. So this is another very good factor that is contributing towards their numbers. They have enough food within the park.
You are most welcome on top of Murchison Falls, and my name is Simon. Here we do have two trails. There's the shortest trail that will take you to the top of the falls. It's about 200 meters walk, where you get to the main falls at the top, the gorge of Murchison Falls. Then we do have the one to the right, 400 meters, that will take you for a hike. Get on the flat surface, see the waters after the falls, the panoramic view, and later we shall move further onto a cliff, where we shall have the site of the twin falls. Main Murchison Falls, and then the independence of the exit of the both falls, much more closer than one will watch from the boat. And later we shall walk back over the second cliff to the top of the falls and see the main falls at the top. Okay, as you are going, we have the do's and don'ts. You are free to take photos, so we shouldn't move on the edge of the cliff. You get to move till it's in the middle of the trail. Once we reach the top of the falls, there are a lot of slippery rocks. We shall have to move carefully. Then littering. If you have maybe bottle of water, biscuits or sweets, after having, please don't throw it down. We have litter bins all over. Drop them in the litter bin. Otherwise, you're most welcome. Feel free, enjoy your time. We are at the viewpoint, the first viewpoint of the hike. Right behind me is the Nile after the falls. Further down, that island to the left, that's where the boats usually dock. The boats right from the bridge until the bottom of the falls is 14 kilometers boat ride. Visitors always stop there and then they move back. Right behind me is the Independence Falls, popularly known as Uhuru Falls. That's the Swahili version, Swahili word for independence and freedom. And that falls was formed in 1962. It wasn't originally before. According to records, in 1907, when Winston Churchill visited the gorge of Murchison Falls, on seeing the gorge at the beginning of the falls, he said that 10 pounds will throw a metallic bridge across Murchison Falls. And a simple structure, just a metallic one. And indeed, in 1954, a bridge was constructed and the cost was 10 pounds. People will cross over the other side, stay on the rocks and come back. And during that time, the volume of the Nile was so low that all the water was passing through Murchison Falls. And when the bridge was built, people will come and cross over. Unfortunately, it lasted for only 8 years. 1961, 62, there was heavy rain and floods. Since the gap where the bridge was built was 9 meters, it was so narrow that it couldn't accommodate all the water. It swept off the bridge. And the force of water created 2 channels to the right of Murchison Falls that ended up forming the second falls. Since its formation coincided with Uganda's independence of 1962, that's why the name either Independence or Freedom Falls. And I said before, because Swahili version is Uhuru Falls. This writing is all about Sir Samuel and Florence Baker's trail to Murchison Falls. According to records, Sir Samuel Baker was a British explorer officer, an engineer, and a writer. Meanwhile, Lady Florence Baker was his second wife. He had saved her from the slave market in Central Europe. And instead of staying at home, she insisted in joining him on his exploits in Africa. It so happened that the year 1864, when he was sent by Murchison to Uganda, the entry point was from the north, that was from Sudan by then. He entered from Sudan. If you follow this trail on the map, he entered from Sudan, then he moved via Golo, Karuma Falls, Masindi, down to Lake Albert to meet the king. So with the help of the king, he was able to see the lake. And before he could name it Lake Albert, the local name for the lake was Mwitanzige, which literally means in English that the lake that killed locusts, he named it Lake Albert after Queen Victoria's husband, who had then died. With the help of the king and the subjects and the local people, they were able to tell him if they could row the canoe northward along the lake, they reached the last end of the lake where they will see a river entered from the east, which is the Victoria Nile. And it took them 12 days to row the canoe northwards until they reached the bottom of the falls. On seeing the falls then, he named it Murchison Falls in memory of Sir Roderick Murchison, who was the president of the Royal Geographical Society and the sponsor of the explorers. Before he could name it, the local name was Pajok. That's a Luo name from northern side of the Nile, which literally means the place of the evil spirits. Now, during those times, the elders from the Luo side, the Acholi side, they are so much into the falls, into the waters. So on seeing the falls during that time, they believe that they are evil spirits because you get span of water passing through a narrow gorge with that thunderous noise, and it was so scary to them. And during that time, they believe that they are evil spirits, the falls. That's why they gave that name. Well, right now we're at the end of the cliff where you get to see the best view for the Twin Falls, the main Murchison Falls and the Independence Falls. Right here is the main Murchison Falls. And if you look at that gorge at the exit, that's the narrowest point of the entire Nile, which is 6 to 7 meters wide. And the average volume of water coming through the narrow gorge of Murchison Falls is 300 cubic meters a second, and that is taken during the peak dry spell when temperatures get higher as 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, to the left is the Independence Falls, which, as I said before, was created due to flood in 1962 and is approximately 12 to 15 meters wide. And if you compare the two falls, you're able to judge it out which one could be having more water. Definitely is the main Murchison Falls. If you look at the Independence Falls, you may think it has more water. That if you look at the width of the both falls, Independence Falls is wider. Meanwhile, Murchison Falls has a very narrow gorge. That means it has much more water than the Independence Falls. Right now, we're at the Devil's Cauldron. This is a place where the visitors get to have a good view of the rainbow. Rainbow is usually formed due to two factors. There are two factors that form the rainbow. We have the sun rays and the water vapor. And so it's the formation of, it's the reflection of sun rays against the
UBC, inspiring Uganda. Brought to you by
Youth, elderly, and persons with disabilities. It's time to choose our leaders. Let's show up and participate in the special interest group